Hi guys, in this video I would like to share a few strategies that I think that you might find useful when you're trying to figure out how to set your rank list. Hi, I'm Dr. Shah and I'm a rural family medicine resident, and on this channel I share my journey in rural family medicine residency and strategies that I learned along the way. So I hope that you enjoy it and stay tuned. So I recall the overwhelming anxiety that I felt when I had to submit my rank list, and oh my God, it felt as if my entire life was hanging by a thread and just attached to this very moment. And you know what? Like, in some ways it did, obviously. But yeah, there was like unbridled anxiety. So I empathize. I know what you guys are going through, okay? And I don't really think that I can really tell you anything that's gonna fully take away that anxiety, but maybe I can give you some tips that you might find helpful to help decrease it a little bit, all right? This is a few things that I think would be helpful for you to keep in mind and to think about when you're when you're making your rank list and before you submit and certify it, all right? The very first thing that is very important to remember is that the match algorithm is weighted towards the applicant, okay? So rank your genuine first choice as first, okay? And I know, especially in some IMG circles, and I'm saying that because I also heard it too, is that there is like a tip or a strategy, which is try to rank the programs that you think you're going to match at higher than necessarily the one that you want. Like, for example, like if I think that I'm going to match at this program because I think that I had a great rapport with them and they really want me, but I want another program more, but I didn't get that same impression, I should rank the program that I feel I have a better chance at matching it higher. I would say, do not do that, okay? Do not do that. I don't think it's a good idea. And the thing is that from my own personal experience and from that of my peers, and based on the video that has been released by ERAS playing the match process, that's not how it works. How it works is, I'm not gonna go through it all. There is a video, I'll link it if you want to take a look at it, but basically it's weighted towards the applicant. What you should truly do is just go with your gut. And if you want a program and that's a program you want to match at, put that higher and then rank that higher. If there's a program that you don't want to match at, rank that low. Even if you think that you have a better shot at that place that you don't like, I would not recommend putting it higher. And the reason for that is because you don't really know, to be perfectly honest, if a program likes you as much as you think that they like you. And being on the other side of it, I don't really think that an applicant will have an accurate idea about how much we do or do not like them just based on their perception of how the interview went, because it is a decision that is made by a group. And even if you think that you had an excellent rapport with some person, and you may have, that one person doesn't make all the decisions. So you really don't know where you stand. Quite frankly, at least at my program, the only person that knows that is the program director, because ultimately it comes down to him. Other programs might be different, but I think from my experience and that of my peers, you truly don't know what a program thinks about you. So even if you think that you have a really great shot and they've been saying all this nice stuff to you, don't take it too seriously. It's always flattering, but don't make decisions based on that, because technically programs are not supposed to be reaching out. So even if we like an applicant a lot, some programs may not even respond to you just because they don't want to influence your decision. So just because you didn't hear back from a program doesn't mean that they don't like you. But if you did hear back from a program, doesn't mean that they actually do like you. Does that make sense? Basically, you don't know, okay? So just go with your gut, okay? Don't try to strategize and do all that. Just go with your gut, see what you like the best, and just rank that higher. All right. I kind of went into my second point. My second point was go with your gut, okay? So honestly, people used to tell me to do that, and I genuinely think that's the most simple, yet it's the most simple advice, but yet the most difficult advice to follow. It is so tough, because I think part of it is because just as people who are interested in science and who pursue science for a living, we are primed to make algorithmic or logical decisions, and gut isn't really algorithmic or logical. So I think that a lot of times, not everybody, but a lot of times it can get hard for people to just rely on their gut. So, but I would really urge you to do that, because that's the best way truly. The next thing that I would say, location, location, location. For residency, location is very important, and after residency, location is very important. So when you're making your considerations about places that you want to match to, think about it in that way. So while you're in residency, how far is this location from your support system? I know for those of you who are like, you know what, I can manage without my support system, I've managed this far, and I was one of those people, residency is a whole other beast, and being close to your support system makes a whole world of a difference, and I would highly recommend trying to be as close as possible to your family, your friends, your spouse, your partner, as much as you possibly can, because some days get really difficult, and in those days it is so crucial to have them nearby. So that's what I would recommend. During residency, think about location. How far is this residency position from my loved ones, from my support system? Location is also important after residency. And the reason I say that is because you're in one particular place for about 3 to 5 years, depending on what your residency program is, depending on if you pursue fellowship at the same place. You're in that same general geographic region for a number of years, and by default, you have positioned yourself in the best place to network within that group of people. So if you think that, you're going to be moonlighting in this area, or this is the area that you see yourself staying for the next little while, then, try and rank those places higher just to make your life easier when you're applying for jobs after. The next thing that I would say when making a decision is follow the data. I cannot tell you the number of times that I've been on one of those anonymous forums and they have provided inaccurate or incomplete information. I would not trust those. The best way to find out about a particular program is to ask the residents. And even if they don't necessarily outright be like, oh yeah, this program sucks, it's the worst, I freaking hate my life, blah, blah, blah. I think that you can gauge how much a resident likes their program or how burnt out they are just by the way that they're talking. So what you want to do is reach out to the residents and, read in between the lines if necessary, but just speak to them and get data from the actual program or people who have been there, or actually get information from real people rather than just anonymous forums, because you don't know for a fact if how accurate or how embellished that stuff is. So keep that in mind. The next thing that I would urge you to consider is educational culture. So culture in general is actually very important. And I say that because you're gonna be with these people for a bajillion hours a week, okay? And if you don't fit in with that culture, or you don't vibe with them, they're not the same personality type as you, it makes things a lot harder than it really needs to be. It adds an additional layer of stress, and you could just really avoid that by making sure that the culture in general fits in with you. And that's what we call like a good fit. You want to make sure that you're a good fit. Now, what I'm specifically talking about is educational culture. Okay, so what you want to look in for is like, how are residents taught? Do they usually have like weekly residency conferences, or is there another way of having didactics? Like, what is the way that residents are taught? Is the teaching primarily done by attendings, or is it done by other fellow senior residents or fellow residents? Is the way that the teaching conducted like congruent with your own learning style? A lot of times, if the teaching style that a particular program implements is not congruent or not compatible with your learning style, you won't get as much out of it, and those teaching experiences won't be as valuable for you. So you want to go to a place where it is a good fit, where the way that they teach and the way that you learn fit well together. So keep that in mind. Okay, last but not least, kind of stating the obvious, but only list programs that you are willing to attend, because it is a breach of contract if you match to a place and you decide that you are not going to go there. You have to go there. Otherwise, like I said, it's a breach of contract. The other thing is, it is extremely unprofessional and it will haunt you. So if you know that there's no way that you're going to go attend a particular program for whatever reason, just don't rank it, because the last thing you would want is the algorithm matching you to this program, and now you have to go there and you're going to be miserable. Or if you don't go there, you're really jeopardizing your chances of matching in the subsequent years. So keep all that in mind. You guys are going to do great. Keep that in mind. Go with your gut. You're going to be great. See you in the next one.